Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is my favorite time of the year. This is where we sit down, we talk to Location Rebel Academy members, and we do a little case study. We talk about, successes, where people have gone, the transitions they've made in their own life through building Location Rebel style businesses. And I have a feeling this is going to be one of the very best interviews we've ever done. Interviewing Jason Gass, who has been a member of Location Rebel Academy for about 4 or 5 years. And it's great because in doing all the YouTube videos I've been doing, I've been getting in touch with members that maybe I haven't talked to in a while. And when Jason left a message and said it was because of Location Rebel Academy and what you've done that I'm doing what I am now, I knew that I had to get back in touch and talk with him. And now we've already been chatting for the last 20 minutes, and I can't wait to share some of the story because it's pretty incredible. So, Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Well, before we go any further, I just want to say congratulations on everything you've built and done. Like it's so cool to see stories like this and to be able to do the things you want to do because I mean that's what it's all about is just
Well, I mean, to be honest, Sean, I would have never even knew this stuff existed until I came across your thing and I went, there's got to be a way to do this. It doesn't seem that hard.
totally.
And then one of the things I learned very on, because I was a strength and conditioning coach for 25 years. And, that's a tough business to be in, Major League Baseball
Oh,
and
for
going from
sure.
Texas to New York to here. And I thought 90% of people that attempt this go at it half-assed and are
Yep.
non-successful.
Yep.
Then you got 5% that give it a really good effort, but don't have the staying power.
Totally.
And I thought, well, how hard is it to beat the other 5%?
Right? It's like it's interesting because you think everyone's like it's like oh there's like tens of thousands, millions of people that are doing this. And it's like maybe that's true, but there's also so many unlimited opportunities for work and so many of the people that are doing it just suck. Like they don't
Right.
know what they're doing. And
I mean,
so
that's how you put it. That you aren't putting in the work, you suck. I have no problem beating you out.
totally.
And
Uh
I was really surprised that all these people that I applied for were like, we loved it. We loved what you said. We want to do a trial article. And man, I overkilled it. They were like 3,000 words. I'm like, here's 5,000.
yeah. It's like I'm
You
not even
know,
like not even necessarily going to charge you extra like here. Like I'm just going to go above and beyond for you and
and they were like, perfect, done.
great, you're hired. So let's start with the beginning of your story, which I find really interesting. You owned a series of gyms. You were a strength and conditioning coach for a Major League Baseball team. A lot of people would probably be like, "Man, you got like dream job. Why do you need to, become a location rebel and start freelance writing and do that stuff?" So tell me about where you were at before you found Location Rebel and before you started going through this process of starting your own business.
Well, I think it started when I started to kind of feel like it was a job,
Yep.
and I'd been doing it for over 20 years,
Yeah.
and I knew it wasn't going to last forever. I mean, you don't see a lot of 60-year-old strength and conditioning coaches.
Totally.
So I knew I was going to have to transition, and I wanted to get a head start by coming up with a plan, a game plan. I've always been a big planner. So I started looking to see what was out there, and I wanted to spend more time with my wife, more time with my kid. Um, so I just started planning, and I planned an exit strategy. Like you taught
For
many years ago, always have an exit strategy before you dump everything. And then, as fate would have it, one of the buildings that one of my gyms was in, somebody bought the whole building and canceled my contract.
So at the time when that happened, were you like, oh my God, my life's crumbling now? This has a huge impact? Or do you look at that as like, hey, this is an easy out to be able to go pursue something else? Like, how'd you deal with that emotionally?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a shock because I'd had that gym for 7 years, and everything was great. And then they sold the building, and I had to tell my wife, our major source of income just got canceled, and there's nothing I can do about it. And she was like, well, how's that side thing going? And I was like, I'm going 100% all in now.
Yeah. Which is a little bit scary because you're still in the back of your head, always like, is this actually a thing? Can you actually do something on the internet? Can I actually work remotely? Did you have any of those fears as you were getting going?
Oh yeah, I mean big time. And thankfully my wife was like, "Hey, we got this." And it's one of those things of you're a hard worker,
Yep.
but you need to take this seriously. And so I that's when I really started diving in and saying, "Okay, I got to run a bunch of tests to see what works, what I like, what I don't like, what's going to make money, what is just for fun. Anything that was just for fun kind of got put on the back burner. And I said, I need to start making some money here pretty quick. And freelance writing was the number one thing I went after.
Totally. So let's start at the beginning. You joined Location Rebel Academy. You got
Right.
in and you're like, okay, I got to make this work. How am I going to do it? So what did you learn at first in the community that maybe helped you get to the point that you're at now?
I learned that there's many avenues
Yeah, for sure.
that you can explore. Like you've said many times, there's video, there's writing, there's copywriting, there's all these different avenues that you can explore, but you should try all of them
Yep.
and see what you like and see what makes you happy, and then see how you can make money from that.
Yeah. So
And
so I know
yeah,
you started blogging with your dad's life blog. You started doing some
yep.
freelance writing. Tell me like kind of what that journey looked like and where you ended up and what type of writing you're doing now with it.
I started a blog, dadslifeblog.com, and I wanted to just kind of tell my story. And I'd kind of been in some dads groups, so I started a Facebook dads group here locally, and I kept having people ask me questions and ask me questions, and so finally I just started writing articles. And I didn't really make any money. I didn't know anything about affiliate marketing. I didn't know anything about that. I was just writing,
Yep.
but apparently my writing caught some people's eyes, and I started getting some feedback. And it was just a side hustle at the time. This was before I lost my gyms
Yep.
and sold the rest of them. And I was lucky enough to be in a niche that a lot of people are in, but don't do very well.
Yeah. So what niche was
uh,
that?
Being a parent, being a dad.
Got
There's a
it.
lot of mommy blogs, but not too
Totally.
many dad blogs.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was kind of a niche that I found myself in, that I had experience in, and people started reaching out and asking questions. So I kind of built a little dad community, and then I figured out, how can I monetize this? So I went back to Location Rebel. I'm like, how do you monetize a blog?
Yep. And then start
And
throwing in the affiliate links, doing maybe some product
yep,
reviews, things like that.
yeah. And it just kind of, and then I won a couple of awards for best dads blog in, I think, 2017, and then I moved up in the ranks to the top 50 blogs in 2018. And then I started just getting a lot of more inquiries about writing and guest posting and product reviews, and people sending me stuff to write reviews about. I mean, one day I got 5 pairs of shoes from a company I never even heard of.
You're just like, what do I do with these?
I'm
I,
like,
I guess I put them on and write about
yeah,
them.
how does this work? So it's kind of that fun of experimentation of, I don't know how this works, but I mean, if people are just going to send me stuff, I can
I'm
figure out how
having
to
a lot of
work.
fun figuring it out. What
Right,
what I
right,
think is really interesting about your story is I talk about the concept in Location Rebel of the bridge business. So you're
right.
where you're at right now and you're not super happy, and then usually I talk about freelance writing as kind of the bridge to something else. So you start freelance writing to build some of your skills, to build your confidence, to build some income, and then once you've got a little bit of income, you're making a few $1,000s from that, then you can apply it to that thing you really want to be doing. And oftentimes
Absolutely.
that's blogging, affiliate sites, niche sites. And what I find really interesting about your story is you kind of went the opposite. You started with kind of the passion thing and the blogging and affiliate and the niche sites, and then now you've kind of evolved on to focusing more on freelance writing. So tell me what that transition looked like, where you're doing the blog, you're getting success, you're having traffic, you're making money with it, and then you're kind of like, well, I'm going to put this on the back burner a little bit and focus more on the freelancing. Like, what made you make that transition?
Um, the consistency
Yep.
mostly. Um, you know, every month was completely different on the income from the affiliate sites, and I couldn't count on a certain amount every month.
Totally.
So we kind of ran of our expenses, and we're like, this is the least amount of money I have to make every month
Yep.
to cover X, Y, and Z. And I said, well, I make that maybe half the time on the site, sometimes a lot more, but the average wasn't where I wanted it to be. So I started applying for freelance writing jobs, because I'd had, at that time, a couple years of practice.
Yep.
And obviously people were enjoying the way I wrote. Um, and so I just reached out to some people, and they were like, "Yeah, we would love for you to guest post." And then they would get back, "Hey, can you write another one?" So I wrote for some local magazines, I wrote for some local newspapers, and then I got more and more contacts, and then I got on with a couple companies that do article writing,
Yep.
and they said, "Hey, this is what we want, this is what we pay, but it's steady work every month. It's 20 articles a month at this amount." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll sign up for that."
And once you've got that reliable income, the
Right.
predictability, like I think that's one of the things as an entrepreneur, especially a new entrepreneur, it's one of the most powerful things you can have is predictable income. Or like if I know I'm going to
Right.
make 2 grand a month, then that's great. I can plan my life and I can work on the other things and I can spend time doing the things I like to do. But that's one of the things people struggle with, and that's what we try and do in Location Rebel Academy is get you to that kind of $2,000 to $3,000 a month point as quickly
Right.
as possible, so you've got that predictability. And have you found that that's been, kind of a
Oh,
benefit for you to kind of get to that point?
huge stress relief because now I can work on my sites. I'm building two more sites, but I can work on them at my leisure. I'm
Totally.
not, I got to get this done so I can start making some income. And now it's like, all right, I can take my time, but I want to do it this way, and it changes. And also it just frees up stress. You're not stressed about covering an electric bill or whatever, so it's just that anchor that I know I can knock all these articles out, get my check, then I can reinvest in my own businesses.
Yeah. And so one of the things that a lot of new freelancers, a lot of new entrepreneurs, struggle with is the idea of finding your niche. And
Right.
it's like, I've been trying to kind of tell people, it's like, yeah, if you've got a background in something specific, then it's great to niche down and do that because you can leverage the background you've got. But in some cases, you don't necessarily need to do that. You need to be a little bit more of a generalist, throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks, see what you enjoy, see what other people enjoy and ask you to write about. So for you, you've now kind of found yourself in kind of a unique niche after writing about all sorts of different things. So what type of
Right.
freelance writing are you doing now?
Mostly product reviews. Um,
And you're not necessarily doing these on your own site. Other people are hiring you to do the reviews,
right.
on different sites.
And doing some product reviews on my site, they saw the way I did it, so they reached out, and it's 20 product reviews a month, guaranteed every month. And you know, but like you said, sometimes you write about the most boring things, but
Yep.
it's the most stable, solid work. And I'm like, I was a strength and conditioning coach and a trainer for 25 years. I don't write anything about fitness.
Interesting. So what are like a couple examples of like maybe something that's a pretty cool thing you've reviewed and something that's a really boring thing you've reviewed?
Um, Different tennis shoes,
Yeah.
different brands of tennis shoes. And then I had to write the top 7 cans of tuna.
No way. That's like something you
25
would never think about somebody actually writing reviews on.
2,500 words on the top best 7 cans of tuna. I'm like, what? Okay.
So are you completely sick of eating tuna after writing that one?
We tried every one of them, and I'm like, I did not know this much about tuna. And
Oh my
it's,
gosh.
but the funny thing is we test all these products, we write about them, and then my wife goes and buys them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we got one of those. And she was like,
Yeah.
yeah, but I want this one. We didn't
We
test this one. I'm like, great.
committed to the craft. I like that. And what I love about this
Yeah.
is, we talk all sorts in like the bridge business and the freelancing, and you can find your niche, but this goes directly back into if you know how to write a good product review. We talk about this in hobby hacking, kind of our blogging affiliate marketing course,
Yep.
where it's like if you know how to write a good product review, not only are you going to build trust with your audience, but you're going to, potentially make money through affiliate revenue, and you have the potential to get some really cool stuff out of it. So for you, it's like, hey,
Yep.
here's a bunch of like new shoes to go and try. I've
Right.
got a
Right.
set of $1,000 golf clubs that are going to be here tomorrow that I've got to go out and review. And so,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
so I think that's kind of one of the cool fringe benefits of kind of going through this process where you start, freelancing, you build your income, you start your side hustle or you start your niche site or whatever. And in your case, you kind of married them all together. So,
Yeah.
you've found a unique way to do that, which I think
And
is
it
awesome.
evolves every day. I
Yeah.
mean, it really does, and it's interesting. It's interesting the products that I get sent, and I'm kind of like, I don't know how I don't know what this is, so I don't know how to write a review about it. So first I have to do my research on what it is,
Yep.
and then we get to have some fun with it. We got a set of Christmas pajamas, a family set. And so we took a bunch of photos
Oh,
and
that's amazing.
wrote a review about it and wrote a Christmas buying guide for families and posted it on the site. And it was hilarious. But
Uh-oh, that's
people loved it. And actually,
awesome.
people bought these pajamas like they were crazy.
Totally. So when you were, and I know you've kind of said you've gone back to Location Rebel through the years, what are some of the most valuable things that you've learned that have helped you, get to this place where you're at now?
I mean, from the very beginning, it was just that this was possible.
Yeah,
Um, and that, okay, you've been doing it for X amount of years, and you seem like a happy-go-lucky guy, so this is kind of what I want to be. I want to be relaxed and create my own environment. And so I think the step-by-step lessons, like if you just follow them, you don't have to do all of them all at once. I
yep,
mean, I continually pivot and go back and reread 10-year-old articles about, wait, how do I do this?
totally.
Okay, wait. I can go back and I can search, or made a lot of friends in the academy that I can just send them a quick email and say, hey, I don't know how to edit a video. Can you
Can you point me in the
point
right
me in the
direction here?
point me in the right direction? I'm not asking for their help, but I get the emails all the time like, hey, how do you lay out your product reviews?
Yeah,
What's your format there? And I'm like, oh, here, I'll send you over a copy. They're
totally.
like, oh man, thanks. I'm like, I'm not hiding. I mean, I stole it from somebody somewhere.
Well, and that's the thing. So many people think that freelancing and whatever is a zero sum game. So it's like,
No.
you sharing about the fact that, you do product reviews. There's some people who'll probably be like, oh, I'm not going to tell people that that's what I do because then they're going to come after my work. And it's like, no, it's like generally speaking, like the relationships you have and the contacts you have, you're going to help each other more than you're going to hurt each other
Yeah.
by, building up that network. And you've got two specific benefits that are very timely and very personal that I'm going to ask you about in just a second. But for the
Okay.
person who's sitting here, thinking about it, they're on the fence, they're thinking about buying Location Rebel Academy. What advice would you give to them? They're like, I'm not sure if this is for me. I don't know if I trust this guy, Sean. Like, the internet's a scary place. Like, I don't want to be scammed. Like, I don't know. Do you have any advice for that person?
Well, I mean, those are all real, thoughts.
Totally.
I mean, I had them,
Yep.
for sure. And when you go into uncharted territory, and like I couldn't even figure out how to log onto the internet before I started all this,
For sure.
let alone build a website and learn and everything. But I mean, I guess you got to know your why. Why do you want to do this?
Yep.
And what you want the outcome to be. And so I knew all that. And
Yeah.
so my first advice would be know why you want to do this.
Yep.
And like we talked about, a lot of people want to do it so they can travel the world. But my whole thing was, how can I create a life that I have everything that makes me happy and I don't have to go anywhere?
Totally.
That was my dream
Yep.
of, I don't want to leave the house.
It's like, I love where I'm at. I want to be comfortable. I want to do the things I want to do here. And that's my goal. And that's awesome.
I have my gym, I have my office, I have everything I want. And my wife's like, have you left the house all week? I'm like, no.
No.
Why would
Exactly
I?
how it should be.
She goes to work every day. I'm like, I don't want to leave. But these people are like, oh, you got to want to travel the world if you want to be a location rebel. And I'm like, I don't think you're getting the whole concept of location rebel means you can do anything you want.
That was something that when 2014 is when I finally bought a house. And I was like
Okay.
really worried about what everybody was going to say. And they'd be like, oh, like now you're like settling down. You're not living this location independent lifestyle, whatever. And that was when it clicked that the biggest benefit of being a location rebel in this lifestyle is you can do whatever you want. For me, it's
Yep.
I have a home base. I travel 3 months out of the year. For you, you want to like, have your office and be able to work from home and do the things that you want to do at home. For some people, that might be backpacking around the world full time.
Right.
And
Right.
it's giving you that flexibility to do it, which is such a powerful thing, I think.
Yeah. I was talking to my daughter this morning and she was like, what's your interview about? And I was telling her, and she was like, oh, so if you had a real job, we wouldn't be making waffles on a Thursday? And I went, exactly.
Exactly.
At
Oh,
nine
man.
o'clock in the morning, I would not be sitting here making you waffles.
So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but you had, before we hopped on the call, you shared two things that I thought were really timely and really just important for people to hear about, this lifestyle and, some of the specific benefits it's had for you.
My wife just had her last breast cancer treatment on Monday. So that was a full year of dealing with breast cancer that we were not one stress about
Oh my
because
gosh. Because you were able to be flexible and take care of her
I
and take
was
care of your
be able
daughter.
to
And
do whatever she needed at any time and not lose a penny in work.
oh my gosh. And
And that, to me, I've always believed that I'm at certain places in my life or where I need to be for a bigger reason.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 47.
yeah, I'm 35.
So I've been around the block a little longer, but like I moved to New York to start with the Mets
Yep.
on September 1st, 2001.
Gosh.
So
What?
10 days later, my whole life changed.
Yeah.
Then I start all this and I start being successful and I'm start like, all right, I'm in a groove now.
Yeah.
And my wife says, I'm diagnosed with breast cancer.
My
And I
gosh.
said, hey,
We
we'll
got
just kick its
this.
ass. Let's go.
We got this.
And we had that attitude the whole time. And she was like, I'm a little worried about missing work. And I was like, hey, if I need to pick up more work, I just apply for more jobs. And the availability to be able to do that and not be self stressed about, I'm going to miss out on this project or I'm going to miss this meeting or whatever. And I'm like, what do you need? I got it.
Exactly.
I can stay up after you go to bed and write for 2 or 3 hours and get my work done. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was two things that I'm like the biggest pandemic in our history affected me not at all
Yep.
because of this.
Yep.
And I was available to be there for my wife during cancer, and she was so thankful that I had the flexibility and I didn't have to ask permission to take care of my wife.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
I would have given up everything to help her, but unfortunately, I didn't have to give up anything. I actually got more work because
Yeah.
I applied for some jobs just so we had a cushion. But I was able to pivot into that and say, okay, well, I can make up for that. I'll just apply for a couple more jobs because I hadn't been applying for jobs because we were set.
Totally.
And it just kind of got to the point where it gave us no stress and kind of like COVID didn't stress us out at all. Nothing changed.
Yep.
You know, her cancer treatments, we were there, did everything we were supposed to. We were able to have the time to go through all of that for a year, and my daughter didn't suffer any neglect from going and doing what she wanted to do because I was available to do everything that everybody needed, and it was a blessing.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Um, so just to wrap it up, is there anything else you want to say about Location Rebel or the impact it's had on you or anything else just to kind of finish it out here?
I was in a job for 25 years and had no skills, no knowledge that this was even a thing,
Yeah.
but I had a dream that I could create my own income source by learning new skills and pivoting even at my age. I'm a
Yep.
little older than most people in the group. But you can never stop reinventing yourself and it's been a blessing. I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I told you that the other day
Yeah.
without Location Rebel. Start small, start one step at a time, building skills, and you can create whatever you want and then figure out a way to get paid to do it.
Totally. And with that, let's just end it there because I couldn't have said it better myself. Jason, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing this. I'm so excited to see where you've gone with it and all the different things you've tried and where you've ended up now. I think it's awesome. I'm a little jealous of your whiskey wall you got back there.
Oh yeah.
And for anybody that's thinking about buying Location Rebel, you can go check out the link below, locationrebel.com/join. If you have any questions at all, Sean at locationrebel.com. I'm very easy to get a hold of. The whole reason we created this community is to help people like you, like Jason, to be able to do more of the stuff you like to do, whether that's travel, whether that's hang out in your man cave in your office and do that all the time, spend more time with your friends or family. That's what this is all about. And so, I truly believe Location Rebel is one of the best communities to help you do that. So let me know if you have
Absolutely.
questions, leave comments below. And Jason, stoked to talk to you, and I'm looking forward to sharing some whiskey with you one of these days.
Absolutely. And hitting the slopes.
That we can definitely do. All right, we'll see you guys later.